Hey everyone, this is the Mind of Lilith, and thank you for joining me today. I've been away for a little bit. Work has picked up a lot, and I don't like recording content when I'm tired or stressed. I want my thoughts to be lucid and clear when I speak to you all, so I've taken some time away from my channel to just reorient myself and give myself some time to figure out how I'm going to move forward with this platform. So I have been receiving many requests to talk about the recent blow up between Arionne, Martell, and Melody. And I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I did not have the stomach to listen to all the videos fully because I already know what this is about, okay? Martell and Arionne still ain't shit, and Melody has to defend herself from their ignorance and spear tactics. It's been the same situation for years now. It's not surprising. So no matter how many reboots we get of this played out as story, Martell and Arionne are still personating the antagonist in Melody's life. Now, why would I want to waste my time listening to what someone as immature and hateful as Arionne has to say? It's too hot for this. It's like my brain gets hot listening to her. Okay, and Martell has always been Arionne's puppet master, but you can't stick your hand up someone's ass if they're not already bent over. And Arionne's hatred and jealousy of other women, especially Melody, has made her the perfect sock puppet for Martell's abusive triangulation with Melody. And from the very beginning, Martell has talked shit about Melody to Arionne, as most narcissists do with their mistresses, to paint themselves as the innocent victim stuck in a loveless marriage of convenience. Martell has brainwashed Arionne into hating Melody more than she hates him, when he was the one who portrayed her as a penis-sucking peasant on national TV. So from the 1 minute of audio I was able to listen to, I couldn't listen to the whole thing. I just couldn't. I tried. I did. It was just aggravating as hell, because the way Arionne speaks is very annoying to me. And when I listen to her voice, all I hear is immaturity and a lack of accountability. So Arionne cannot grow or change until she takes responsibility for her decision to have a baby by a married man to compete with his wife. Arionne is still bitter because Martell still doesn't want her after Melody left him 50 years ago. So instead of asking herself, why did I allow myself to get played by a blockheaded dildo, she's practically salivating at the idea of hurting Melody. Because like Martell, Arionne's primary focus is to make Melody look like a peasant, to cut Melody down to size, because Melody's confidence and charisma triggers both Arionne and Martell's insecurities about themselves. And Martell made every excuse in the world to not get a divorce from Melody. Now he's making every excuse in the world not to commit to Arionne. Initially, Arionne's ignorance and her immaturity was attractive to Martell because that made her the fun, young plaything that he could use to escape from the real responsibility of being a father, a husband, a role model, a business partner, a protector, or even a provider. For Martell, wearing those suits was uncomfortable. Martell likes to look the part, but he doesn't want to play the role of being what he's trying to look like. That is the issue. And Melody has high standards for her partners. She expects them to work hard just like she does for the finer things in life. The only thing Martell wanted Arionne to do was to work her jaw and her legs. And she was happy to oblige because her hair and her sexuality is the basis of her entire self-esteem. Arionne only compares herself to Melody physically because she can't really fuck with Melody when it comes to business, to work ethic, to ingenuity, intellect, or even having a sense of purpose that doesn't revolve around whether or not a fuck nigga like Martell finds you attractive. And people like Arionne and Martell don't understand that their actions have consequences until it's too late. If Melody were to press charges on both of them, okay, which she should, in my opinion, they would still blame her for destroying their lives, even though they were both plotting to ruin hers. Martell and Arionne both plotted to ruin Melody's life. And over a year ago, I said that the tragedy in the situation for Melody is the fact that Martell brought in a whole new enemy into Melody's life. And this is not something that she had any control over. Martell brought a woman into Melody's life who hates her. Now Melody has to look over her shoulder for not just Martell, but for Arionne as well. Okay? And that is so unfair because Melody chose to marry Martell. Yet Arionne is like low-key stalking Melody in a sense, following her, hating on her, as if Arionne was the ex-wife and Melody was the mistress. So Martell essentially created this clusterfuck of a mess, but never wants to take accountability for the shit he started. And this is what I saw during the interview with Queen Sheba, but I already knew this because he had the same demeanor and the same perspective when he spoke to Dr. Heavenly, when he spoke to Steve Harvey. Martell and Arionne do not like to take responsibility for their actions. They're both very immature and they have mental health problems, okay? Martell humiliated Melody. He defiled her. He maligned her. He disrespected her. And he abused her in every way imaginable, except physically. And Arionne was a willing participant in this abusive situation. Neither she nor Martell had any empathy for Melody as a woman, as a mother, or as a human being. They just turned her into the object of their hatred because they could not stand the fact that Melody's very presence reminded both of them that they weren't on shit. Melody makes Martell and Arionne look small. That's the problem that they have. One of the problems they have with her. I will never be surprised at how low Martell and Arionne will go to make Melody look bad. Because from the very damn day that they met, they proved that they had loose or non-existent morals and absolutely no integrity. So why is anyone surprised at this late stage that Martell would record Melody giving him oral sex for his own sadistic pleasure, only to turn around and to use that video to paint his wife and the mother of his children, or try to use that video to paint Melody, who was his ex-wife, is his ex-wife, and the mother of his children, as some sort of penis-sucking whore. In seasons 1 and 2, Martell kept complaining that he wasn't getting oral sex from Melody, which is why he cheated with Arionne. Yet he has a recording of Melody giving him oral sex, from what I'm hearing. So was this recorded after Martell met Arionne? Because if so, I wouldn't be surprised if he recorded that intimate moment to humble his wife because he's pathetic. Who does that? Who thinks of something like that? Besides someone who has a narcissistic personality disorder. This is why I said Melody has PTSD. In my opinion, I'm not a therapist or psychologist. I've said this from the very beginning, but this would give anybody PTSD. And this is why I said Martell has MPD and Arionne shows symptoms of BPD, which makes both of their toxic asses compatible partners in crime. Instead of saying, Martell, you are wrong for this. I'm not doing your dirty work for you. Get the fuck out of my face. Arionne was giddy like a high school girl about the idea of doing another woman dirty like that. So Arionne does not see Melody as a woman, a black woman, a human being, or a mother. She sees her as the ops, okay? So as the ops, you have no humanity. I don't care about you at all. Forget your feelings, forget your children, forget your reputation, forget everything. I hate you, Melody, because you are the woman that my boyfriend wants me to be. And I will never live up to that expectation. So I'm always looking for the opportunity to bully you, to disrespect you, to treat you the way my married ex-boyfriend treated me. I cannot stand people who want to tear down productive members of society because they're intimidated or insecure about their own inadequacies. Making Melody appear weak or diminished in any way will not automatically elevate Arionne and Martell because Melody is not the reason why Martell and Arionne are not at the top of their game in the first place. Instead of being sore losers, Arionne and Martell need to peep game and elevate their lives in their own way, in their own time. They need to establish realistic goals for themselves. Stop comparing themselves to other people. When Arionne saw the way that Melody and Martell were living on the TV show, her jealousy got even worse because while Martell was taking her to seedy motels, he was purchasing large homes for his wife and family to create memories and a legacy for their children. Now, here's the lesson in the situation. Because again, I didn't listen to the audio. It's the same nonsense. I'm not going to be surprised by anything Arionne says. I don't care what she has to say. I haven't listened to anything she said for months. Her voice annoys me. Her personality annoys me. The way she thinks annoys me. It's just a problem for me. And as I mentioned before, everybody has some redeemable qualities. No one is 100% bad or 100% good. But it is very difficult for me to find aspects of Arionne's identity and her personality that I respect or like. From the very beginning, she's embraced this supervillain role for no reason other than prove her loyalty to Martell while absolving herself of the responsibility of having an affair with a married man, right? So she's defensive and offensive at the same time. How are you defensive and offensive? How are you the victim and the perpetrator at the same damn time in a situation? So Arionne will not grow. She will not learn. She will not mature. She will not advance. She will not anything until she accepts responsibility for what she has done to her life. Yes, Martell manipulated her. Yes, he used her. Yes, all those things. But now Arionne is no longer a young, innocent girl. She's actually older than Melody was when Martell started having an affair with her. So Arionne is no longer a spring chicken that can play dumb in a situation. She is someone who wants to be used to hurt another woman, who's a mother, okay? Who's a black woman at that. She has no sisterhood solidarity. She has no racial solidarity. She has no motherhood solidarity. She's just somebody who's out for self, just like Martell. And you can't be surprised when people with bird mentalities do bird shit. I'm honestly more triggered by Arionne's voice than, anything she has to say. Because she really sounds immature and like she has some sort of arrested development. I don't know what happened to her, but it seems as if she hasn't grown past a certain age mentally. And again, that's reflected in the type of conversation she has, what she focuses on, her goals in life, her relationship to Martell, all this stuff, right? Even though Arionne is getting most of the smoke when it comes to this videotape situation, Martell is the one who started this entire mess. This is all Martell's fault. And Martell will not check Arionne publicly because he wants her to do this. Martell believes that Melody is using her social media platform to bully him, so he's going to do anything in his power to bully her back, including using Arionne. Okay? And Arionne is so hell-bent on hating Melody, she can't even see that she's still being played by the man who disrespected the hell out of her. He called her a peasant on TV. He downgraded her from his girlfriend to his homie after she had his baby. He's never even claimed her. Like, this is embarrassing. So here's the lesson in this situation, because I didn't want to waste my time listening to this if I couldn't, give you guys some nuggets of wisdom. I'm not some sort of sage or whatever, but here it is, okay? Arionne has sacrificed her life for Martell, in a sense. Her youth, her vitality, her energy, her academic career, her professional career. She sacrificed it for Martell. And you should never sacrifice your life and your vitality for any man without securing a life raft for yourself. Or else you'll be drowning in the middle of the ocean, lost, ungrounded, confused, scared, alone, devastated, heartbroken, and about to drown. And so what's a life raft? A life raft is like a career or a hobby or an identity, your financial situation, healthy social networks, a connection to God or spirituality, something that you can hold on to when you've lost your way. Arionne and Martell have lost their way, okay? We all make mistakes in relationships, especially when we're young. But what have you learned from those relationships? Why do you keep making the same mistakes? Have you accepted responsibility for allowing someone to disrespect you in the first place? What actions and steps are you taking to heal the wound that makes you susceptible to being in an abusive situation in the first place, right? Do you know what it feels like to love someone who truly loves you back? Do you know what that feels like? Because once you get used to that feeling of authentic reciprocal love, you will not be satisfied with someone like Martell, who breadcrumbs you, okay? Who gaslights you, who uses you, manipulates you, and doesn't give you what you deserve, right? Now, Martell deserves Arionne and Arionne deserves Martell. There are two eggs in the same bird nest, okay? And because of this, Martell and Arionne will continue to have an emotional and sexual connection because their shadows are compatible. A lot of us have dated Martells, or we have, relatives who are married to men like Martell, right? We're familiar with the archetype, the suave, attractive player who always says the right things to get what they want, who can't commit, who doesn't take accountability, all this shit, right? And it is easy to be manipulated by someone like that. However, at some point you learned to develop some sort of discernment so that you can't be disrespected and used in the same way anymore. But discernment requires critical thinking. It requires boundaries and high self-esteem. So it's like saying, even though this man's attractive and he has it going on financially, I know he ain't shit. Based on the way I saw him treat his wife and the mother of his children and his business partner, I know that getting in a relationship with him would be a disaster, right? And so in spite of my attractiveness to this man, or how attractive he is to me, I'm going to choose to avoid the situation because I know that from experience and observation, he's going to do me dirty the same way he did his ex-wife dirty. Based on the way I saw him treat his ex-wife, it would be foolish of me to emotionally, psychologically, and physically invest in a situation that is a dead end. That's discernment. Discernment doesn't mean that you're not attracted to anybody anymore. It doesn't mean that you don't have any urges or needs. It means that you use your better judgment that's been cultivated by painful experiences to avoid unnecessary drama in your life. If I was Arionne, I would run as far as hell away from Martell as possible. I would cut off all contact with him. Forget child support, forget all, I don't care. I would leave him alone completely. Fuck him. But Arionne loves Martell more than she loves herself, so why would she leave him? As a matter of fact, I would not be surprised if Arionne thinks that leaving Martell would be akin to losing a large part of her identity, because she's wrapped her entire life around this man for about a decade now. Okay? It's horrible. But Arionne, as I mentioned before, is under the influence of Neptune. And Neptune makes us delusional as hell. It makes us believe in the fairy tale ending with a motherfucker who ain't shit, who's a murderer, who's a bastard, who's a cheater, who's a criminal, who's whatever, right? Neptune allows us to use our projections to keep us bound to toxic soul tie relationship. And Arionne is not strong enough to get out of that bind because, number one, she still has not taken accountability for her role in the situation. Accountability requires some level of maturity, some level of courage, some level of a desire to grow and to change and to find a solution to the problem. Because if I can't change Martell and I can't change this fuck nigga, the only thing I can do is change myself. I can't do nothing else. But I can't change myself, and I won't change myself if I'm constantly pointing the finger at the other. You did this to me. You did that. You hurt me. Whatever. Right? So that's where Arionne is now. And that's where Martell is too. Most toxic people do not accept responsibility for their actions. Period. They don't. They don't want to. They always want to blame somebody else for their decisions. Yes, there are bastards and manipulators and users in the world. Yes. But at some point, once you peep game, you have to move accordingly. You have to. You don't have a choice unless you want to stay in this vortex of bullshit that will never change. How long has Arionne been going through this? And she wants to make Melody suffer because she's suffering. If Arionne was happy with her life, she would not have the capacity or the bandwidth to focus on Melody to the extent that she does. She wouldn't have time for that. She wouldn't even care. Okay? But again, her excitement and giddiness about the idea of exposing Melody with this tape is just disgusting. But not surprising. Like, who's surprised about this? Who's surprised that a bird is going to do bird things? We have to stop being triggered by someone else's stupidity. If someone shows you who they are, you have to believe them. And then you can't get triggered anymore. Once I understand who you are, I can no longer be surprised by your antics. Nothing that Arionne and Martell does is surprising to me. It's not. So I've stopped listening to them because it's the same repetitive bullshit. It's the same thing, you know? Yeah, so hopefully you guys will emotionally and psychologically detach from this situation with the, Martell, Melody, and Arionne. It's very toxic. And I feel bad for Melody because she didn't choose this. This is not what she wanted for her life. It's not. But when you are somebody who is an asset, who is productive, who is intelligent, who has a lot of gifts that people want for themselves, you're going to become a target for abuse and exploitation almost all the time. So that's the unfortunate situation of, being blessed and having lots of opportunities, or being someone who makes opportunities for themselves. You will find people who try to take those opportunities from you, right? Martell saw Melody as an asset, as someone who could elevate his life. Okay, we see where he comes from. As I already said before, Martell experienced a lot of neglect as a child. And it said that NPD sufferers either were neglected as children or they were coddled too much. The mother exhibited extreme behavior, either extreme negligence or extreme coddling and suffocating and sheltering the child. And I wonder if Miss Marlene feels a little bit guilty about this whole situation because of the way she raised her son. That's why she doesn't hold him accountable for anything. And I did find it interesting that I think it was last week, a couple weeks ago, Martell mentioned that he was upset with his mother for not wanting to watch his children, which she said she didn't want to do before the divorce happened, Mr. Father of the Year, right? Because we already knew that Martell was going to rely on his mother as a babysitter. We knew this, and his mother did too, because we knew that Martell was not the dominant parent about shit. He wasn't cooking, he wasn't cleaning, he wasn't doing barely anything for those kids. Melody was doing most of the work. His mom knew this from the very beginning. That's why I always peep game from season 1 or 2 that Martell was not doing as much as he said he was, because his mother exposed him more than once. Like, Miss Marlene has always said, I'm not raising no more kids. I already raised my kids. Now, she didn't really do a perfect job. Most of us are not perfect parents, but yet and still, you know, the saying goes, if you don't raise your children, you'll have to raise your grandchildren. So Martell's talking shit about Melody having multiple babysitters because she's busy, but now he's mad at his mommy for not wanting to babysit because he's too cheap to pay for adequate babysitting. Okay, if you are a professional, you work full time, you have your own business or whatever, and you have children, you're going to need some help babysitting, especially as a single parent. That's realistic. But Martell wants to be cheap and controlling. So he expects his mother to sacrifice her old age and her freedom to be at his beck and call because he chose to destroy his marriage. He did that. He wanted all these kids. And now, like, you know, I can see Miss Marlene was watching one kid. She's watching 4 and 5 children. That's a lot for anybody to deal with. Okay? Stop being cheap and controlling and hire a babysitter. Now, if his mother's saying no, that means that at some point he's asking too much. What is he doing that is preventing him from watching his children? And if he's doing a lot of work and needs a lot of babysitting, why wouldn't he have any compassion or sympathy for Melody needing babysitters because she's always busy and more busy than him? This is why I said he's a blockheaded, ignorant ass dildo who wants to destroy Melody because she made him suffer the consequences of his own actions for the first time in his life. That's why he hates her. One of the reasons why. Okay? So one more thing too. Someone sent me a link to a video about Arionne complaining that Martell does not defend her. That is what the video is about. I didn't watch the video, but from the title alone, again, I'm not surprised about anything. If Arionne is complaining that Martell is not defending her, or he has her out here exposed, taking all these daggers by herself, she is as delusional as he is. I don't understand how Arionne would expect Martell to protect her and defend her when Martell used her to hurt the woman he said he loved, who was his wife and the mother of his children. Why do you deserve more protection than Melody, who helped to make him the man that you fell in love with? Why would Martell protect you from the consequences of your actions when doing so would expose him to more ridicule from the audience, from people who watch the show, right? If Martell steps out and defends Arionne, there is going to be some people who have their foot on his neck. They're going to say, how dare you defend your mistress while you do your wife this dirty? You drag her through the mud through social media, you call her a whore, all this stuff, but you're defending the woman who's responsible for destroying, or partially responsible for destroying, your marriage. Martell is not going to do that, okay? Martell is going to be a coward and hide behind Arionne the same way he hid behind Melody while they were married. So Arionne is crying about what? I don't care what she's crying about. I don't care that she feels bad that Martell's not defending her. What did she expect was going to happen? This is what happens when you don't check the Carfax, when you don't check the receipts, right? When you don't have discernment about certain things. Seeing the way that Martell treated Melody, Arionne should have expected that Martell would not defend her, because he never defended his wife, who he was married to for 12 years, who gave him 4 children and success and prestige, right? And some fame and popularity and respect. She gave him everything he wanted, and he still disrespected her for somebody who did nothing for him. Why would Martell defend Arionne? What's the incentive for that? That would make him just look even worse, because he never defended Melody. And he used Arionne to destroy or to hurt his ex-wife. So why does Arionne think she's more deserving of protection by Martell than Melody was? Like, your boyfriend literally used you to hurt his ex-wife. What do you expect from him? Why do you expect that from him? What is going on in your brain that makes you think that this narcissist would put himself in harm's way to protect somebody that he used to hurt his ex-wife, who he called a peasant? He sees you as a peasant. Martell does not like women. He doesn't respect women because of the way his mother raised him. He's still angry with his mother for not being the person he wanted her to be in his household. So now all the women in his life have to suffer for that. Okay? Martell feels like because he wasn't protected as a child and he was neglected by the women in his life, he has the right to inflict the same damage on the women in his life. If you're not going to protect me, mommy, I'm not going to protect you, Melody. I'm not going to protect you, Arionne. Martell has intense anger towards his mother. It's probably latent or subconscious, but it's there. He's mad at women. The way he did Melody, to me, is a reflection of how he really feels about his mother. And I'm glad that therapy sessions are exposing his attitude towards women relative to his mother. Okay? But again, back to Arionne. She's delusional as hell if she expects Martell to treat her better than he treated his wife. Martell does not put Arionne and Melody on the same level. He wants to, but he still doesn't. He can't. This is Moon Square Venus, okay? Arionne is Martell's moon, which is his mother, and Melody is Martell's Venus, which is who and what he aspires to be. But who he is, based on his conditioning and who he aspires to be, contradicts each other, okay? And I discussed that extensively before. So Arionne, you know, like I said, I don't feel sorry for her in this situation. I don't feel sorry for her. Why are you complaining? Like, all of the evidence shows that Martell does not really care about Arionne like that. All it shows that, okay? We saw it during the marriage. We see it after the marriage. Like, Martell treats Arionne as if she's disposable, okay? He only uses her for sex when he's feeling insecure or depressed about Melody. Arionne thinks that Martell has loyalty to women. He does not have any loyalty to any woman. If Martell could not muster up any loyalty for his wife, who he was married to for 12 years, who gave him 4 children and several successful businesses and esteem and clout and prestige and fame, why would he be loyal to the woman who he blames for his divorce? Martell put some of the blame on Arionne for exposing the affair and for getting pregnant or having the baby, which was the last straw for Melody. Why would I protect you if I blame you for ruining my life? Arionne needs some serious therapy because this doesn't make any sense to me. Why are you surprised about that? Martell has thrown everybody under the bus on the show. He's thrown Marcel under the bus. He's thrown, what's his name? Chris under the bus. He's thrown Melody under the bus. He's thrown everybody under the bus on the show. Why would he protect you, who he called the peasants, Arionne? That makes no sense. You have to temper your expectations. Okay, and grow up and see things for what they are and not what you want them to be. Arionne has at least 9-10 years of experience with Martell, where she should be able to deduce or make inferences about his behavior based on his past behavior. Like, he did his ex-wife dirty, the woman who was the mother of his kids. Like, who are you relative to that? He downgraded you from a girlfriend to a side piece, hookup homie after his divorce. Like, he's been lying to you from the very beginning and you refuse to see that. Martell is not who you think he is. This is the reason why I said Arionne is still under the influence of Neptune, because her expectations of Martell are unrealistic. At this point, she should not be surprised about anything that he does. But she still is, because she still thinks that he's some dream ideal man that she has to prove her loyalty to in order for him to see her value. That will never ever happen. It won't ever happen. He's going to use her for what he wants and then discard her when he finds somebody better or more suitable for his needs. Period. Okay? All right, guys, I'm leaving it there. I look forward to reading your feedback. If you want to order a personal reading from me, you can go to my website. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.